So while you do that, I'll tell you a quick little bit about who I am and what my work is. My name is Liana. I'm a transracial adoptee. I was born in Brazil. I was raised here in Pittsburgh. I grew up in Wilkinsburg. My whole life is about navigating identity and who we are. It's really important to me because I don't believe that the world and systems are separate from who we are. So I think that it's really important to hold ourselves personally accountable for everything that is happening in the world, because everything that has a cause has an effect, including everything that we do. So that's really what my work is about. Behind me is just a bunch of random fun things, because I was asked to talk about brokenness. I hate the word brokenness. I believe very firmly, so long as you're moving forward from wherever place you are, that you are not broken. It is impossible to be broken. I think that when we think about who gets to call people broken or things broken, right? It's like another man's trash is another man's treasure, or something. One man's trash, another man's treasure. But it's when I'm down and I'm at my worst and I'm feeling absolutely miserable, I certainly do not feel broken, and I certainly hope nobody in this room would either. I think that's something important to think about, because if we feel broken or defeated, we can't actually make changes in the world or in our own lives at all. See, yes, you surrender, she's great, because that's bullshit. It's total bullshit. You can do whatever you want. So I think for me, the main thing is thinking about all of these things that are broken, right? Which is lots of things. Political system, locally, we can think of a ton of things, right? We're all going through a lot. There's been a lot of tragedy. For people like me, it's, in my mind, there's always been tragedy. It's happening all the time. But it seems that certain things kind of float to the surface now. So we're kind of speaking about current issues, but as a black adoptee growing up in Pittsburgh, everything has been shitty for a long time. So if everything has been shitty, then how do you like be excited and like have mimosas and like party in the morning and dance to music and stuff, right? So the key here for me today is to talk about resilience. I really want to talk about what resilience is and what that looks like, and the importance of that, and how to cultivate that energy to be that can help you get up from when you're down. Because when you're down, you're not broken unless you just stay there forever and ever and ever. And even then, you're only broken if you call yourself broken. Don't ever let anybody else call you anything ever. So when you think about resilience, does anybody have like a thought? Yell at me. When you hear the word resilience, what does that mean? Straight. Straight? Strength. Strength. Yell it out. Stubbornness. Powering through things. All my friends are talking. Somebody else talk. Tenacity. Joy through the storm. Cool. So those are all really, really good things, right? Who do we think of having those things? What kind of people have those things? My mom does too. Who else? Athletes. Who else? Oppressed people. Artists. Women, right? What do all of those people have in common? Besides resilience, because that's what we just said. Underdogs? Some are, some aren't. I don't know. Steph Curry is like not totally an underdog. It's arguable. But I do think that one thing that we do have in common is some level of suffering, right? Did anybody say suffering? No, okay. So suffering is not love. And in this country, we're taught that if you suffer, that means you're in love. And that means that you're loving people, which is absolute bullshit. Where's Lisa Ren up there? This is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, right? And it's something that I think that we all do because it's part of our culture to do that, and we're taught that that's what we should do. And in that struggling, and we create this sort of like martyrdom out of ourselves or something, right? And it hurts. It hurts so many people around us because it's not honest. And if there's one thing, I mean, all these people, I can't even believe that like pretty much every single seat in here is filled because I talk so much bullshit. And I'm really impressed. But I'm really glad I talk so much shit. It's unbelievable. And I'm just really amazed that everybody's here. But one thing is that all of that shit is totally honest all the time. And I think that that is so important to be honest, actually. Otherwise, we're just robots kind of moving around in the world hopelessly, right? Just talking, a lot of talk. And that's a waste of time. And so today I want to connect resiliency to art, which is kind of, I guess, creative, means like creativity, creative people. I want to connect it to art, and I want to talk about a little bit about what resiliency could look like as a city, moving forward in a positive direction, and what that actually looks like, and is it even possible? I don't think it is totally possible, because it's really about everybody in this room actually leaving here and holding themselves accountable for every action that they make, and thinking about what reaction that it will have on someone else. And I think that when we talk about artists, it's so intense because as someone who hasn't really considered themselves a creative person, which in fact, looking back, I am, I guess, a creative person, but I never really thought about it that way. I thought about, I make money, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm gonna do everything that like a black woman shouldn't do. Which I don't own a house yet, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Apparently I'm not doing as good as I thought. But I think that one of the things that is so necessary to think about is, especially sitting in a room where we're here, we're supporting, you guys are obviously here supporting me, most of you don't even know me, which is great. But what are the things beyond that that we can really start looking at? Because the way that these systems work is in my opinion, it's criminal, what's happening. We have artists all over the city and all over the country on food stamps. These are people who are in the paper every other day. And I don't know if we just like to see their names and go, oh my God, I know them, they're so nice and they're so cute and I love that show. But all of those things are not supported. And so I want to think about, or I'm often thinking about rather, what that means about value and what that means when we're talking about brokenness and resilience and who's making those decisions or not. Because I think that when we have so many incredible people who are suffering, which is what we all just said, resilient people. Do you go to art shows because there's resilient people and art and things? Is that like a part of it ever? To be inspired or moved? Maybe? That's why, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you just want to cry. I do that sometimes. I go to a museum and I just cry. I just sit there. It's nice. Read poetry, it's really depressing, but it's good, it gets me over it. But I think that if we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what these people mean to us and what this art means to us, we actually need to be valuing that. And what does that look like? And I don't have the answer, but I do know that the people that make those decisions have jobs, and I do know that the people that make those decisions have insurance, and are eating, and most of them own houses, or job, or something, a car, I don't know. And I'm looking around, and as I'm moving from entrepreneur into this like artistic role, I'm realizing that people are asking me to do things for free. I'm realizing that what should initially, oh wow, yes, right? We know these things are broken, but what are we actually doing but talking about it being broken? We're actually not doing anything, because I've had these conversations with my artistic and creative friends many years ago, and they're the same conversations that are happening now. Now, me being absolutely insane and risky, say these things out loud so that other people don't have to. So you don't have to fund me, it's all right, I'll make money, I'll figure out a way. But I sure as hell am not going to watch my friends who need to do this and want to do this and that is their life have to live the way that they live when they are giving so much to everybody in this room, as I see a lot of y'all out, enjoying yourselves, you're here today in an artistic venue. And the people that perform in this venue need to be taken as well care of, as well as the people who are determining where money is going, etc., etc. Because you can't make a living with all of this piecemeal. I'm gonna do this thing for a week. I'm gonna do this thing for a week, not to mention the taxes are insane. And I don't know if y'all know, if you get an artist grant, you have to pay taxes on that. Yeah, it's bullshit, right? It's not income. God knows I'm spending all that money on some other shit to make it cool, you know? And it's not like a good amount of money, and I think that's what we know too, right? I got a grant. People give me grants. I don't know why. They gave me some. And I'm sitting here thinking, this is no money. It's already spent. I'm sitting here, I said I was going to do all these things, and I realized I can't actually do all these things. And it's so challenging, right? And if I actually didn't come from an entrepreneurial background and a money-making background, I don't know where I'd be, right? I don't know financially. I would be totally screwed if I was like just an artist. I mean, talk about resilience. Artists are absolutely resilient and risk takers so that you don't have to be. I think Daryl said something like that to me once. And they feel things so that you don't have to feel it, you know? You can just observe it and make connections, but it's literally painstaking to come up with these ideas and concepts, especially in the work that I do around identity, because I have to try to stay a step ahead. So there's a lot of crying, there's a lot of stuff, and it's really, really, really emotional. And we need to start thinking about valuing that, actually, and individually. Because I don't know about y'all, but I am absolutely sick of seeing GoFundMes. The fact that people in the paper every 5 minutes who are making this city absolutely phenomenal have GoFundMes every second? That's crazy. And every single funder in the city or individual donor needs to think about that. Because that's a reflection on everybody else in the city, not them. And I think this is very real stuff that we need to start to consider. Absolutely. Because these are people that have changed my life, who have accepted me, who I care about deeply. And we can't allow these kinds of things to go on any longer in our city if we really actually care about vibrancy, right? Or whatever we want to call it. So, in moving on with that, thinking about resiliency, it's crazy because it's so challenging to be on, right? All the time. Whose phone is that? Just kidding, it's okay. It's so challenging to be on all the time, but yet we expect these things from people, right? And we all have feelings and we're all hurting and we've all got stuff. So one of the things that I'm seeking to do in this city, and hopefully will grow and grow and grow and grow, with Adopting Identity and the Good People's Group, which is kind of the for-profit. So this is the thing, I don't believe in nonprofits. I have an LLC, okay? Because I believe in making money, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, because everybody else believes in making money, and they sure are, and I'm not gonna get left behind. And people say in the nonprofit world, well, you're doing good, why aren't you a nonprofit? Because when the hell did that ever get anybody anywhere? Never. I want to make money. I want the people who work for me to make money. Real money. I used to work somewhere where people with master's degrees got paid $10 an hour. A nonprofit. That's insane. Like, insane. You know how much it costs to get a master's degree? This is criminal behavior. It is criminal. It's stealing. It is stealing somebody's heart and soul. So, with that, I want to think a little bit more and move forward a little bit more with how personally we can start to reshape how we feel and fit into our community, right? All these things, all these beautiful words like community have just become buzzwords, right? There's literally nothing that can come out of my mouth but the word fuck that's genuine, right? It's like diversity, inclusion, community. Community is a shitty word now. What other word can we use besides community? It's terrible. And it's basically just like code for like black people. So it's like, with all this coding and all these words and all this language and all this garbage everywhere, how do we actually ground ourselves into remembering that we are human beings, we are animals, we are here, we are together, and we are responsible for each other? And if you don't feel that way, fine. Just don't be in the nonprofit world. Don't be in philanthropy, or maybe you should be in philanthropy, I don't know. and just kind of go start your own thing. But if you're going to say that you're about people, actually, then you need to be about people, actually. And, you know, I have very little drama in my life, like very, very little, except for my partner's mad at me all the time because I'm just like insane. But part of that is because as an artist, you also realize that you have such control and power over the people in your life. And somehow I've managed to keep a really incredible group of people around me that help me stay motivated and happy and let me be sad or whatever I need to be, right? And that is so important because so much of who we are is a reflection of who we're with, right? And this all sounds really cheesy, but I'm really hoping today with my excruciatingly loud voice that you can actually really think about the people who are in your life. If I go to anybody's, and my friends have heard this thing so many times, so I apologize because you're all like just being, it's repetitive. But if you invite me to your wedding tomorrow and nobody looks like me, why are you here? Why are you doing the work that you're doing? First, we need to do that work in our own lives. If we want to create a community out there that is vibrant, we need to have a community in our house that is vibrant. For people like me who are multiracial and grow up in multiracial families, generally speaking, because sometimes it can be really not the case at all. But for me, it made it easy. I've always had gay people in my life. I've always had people from other parts of the world, people that spoke different languages. It was just normal. And that's what I'm hoping that the people in this room can start thinking about, is how to make that normal. It's not about diversity and inclusion. It's about actually getting up in the morning, and it's natural to go talk to anybody and to go make friends. It's not this thing, this conscious thing that you're always doing. How do you make that conscious effort to go and make a gay friend or whatever, right? How do you make that just natural? That's the difference. Everything else is talk. So if we're talking about community and using all these buzzwords, we're not actually building anything. If it's not that way in your house, it's not that way out there, and that's what we need to be thinking about individually before we start telling everybody who's broken and who's not and what communities need what. So with that being said, I think, what do I have, 5 minutes? I think something like that. Nathan's gone. Oh, you're right there. I want to take a moment to get some questions, if we have anything, because 20 minutes is nothing, right? And you can pay me whenever you want to come and talk for a lot longer about a lot more specific things. Race is my topic, right? That's when I met with Nathan for a drink the other day, that's what he was like. I was like, you want me to talk about race? Because everybody wants me to talk about race, right? Everybody always wants me to talk about like certain things. And that is so hard for me to do, right? So that's why you came here for free. So I'm not gonna like cry right now and get really into it. So you gotta pay the big bucks for that. But I want everybody to know that that is an option. That there is support. We're building, adopting identity is building, so that we can actually help individuals and families move forward. So we can stop talking about results. If I hear one more grant maker talk my ear off, or anybody I work with's ear off, about measurables, how much more measurable could you get than me, right? Like, Jesus Christ, like when you think about where I came from and where I am, I didn't get that way from a grant, or from a nonprofit. I got that way because of the people in my life, and being able to be honest and have conversations that matter. That's how I got that way. That is the measurable everybody should be looking for. Not how many freaking people showed up somewhere. What the hell does that matter? Nothing. So if we really want to think about that, it matters because you're all here and I really love it and it's great. but my job matters nothing if you don't leave here and think at all about anything other than yourselves, right? It means nothing. So it's not about getting people into seats. It's not about getting kids in a seat. It's about me waking up in the middle of the night because I have a text message from an interracial partnership of 16-year-olds that need my help. That's immeasurable. That's beautiful. That's more exciting than anything, right? And those young people are going to naturally grow up and naturally be a part of the landscape and naturally have community around them that's vibrant and looks beautiful and different, right? We have to think about what is natural, what comes natural to us and what is hard for us to do.